Hey, everybody. We have got a pretty cool show today. We might have seen me on Intro the Outer Realms with Joey and Tanya. And the Red Thread Collective is part I'm part of. So we're kind of doing that tonight. We're going to have a round table, and we're going to be talking about a subject that's pretty cool. So August 21st, 1955, started out as any other night in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. But just to the north, in a very small community named Kelly, there would be an encounter that would not only alter the lives of a family, but change the very lexicon of ufology. Thomas Kardos is joining us. He is from the North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. So grab a drink and a snack as we discuss the Kentucky Goblins.
Welcome to the Three Beards podcast. My name is Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is right. Justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right, there's Chris. We got that one. And as aforementioned, we have Mr. Thomas Kardos. How are you, sir?
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right, let's see. So we as we talked about here, we are looking at the Kentucky Goblin. And when I mentioned this to you, I gave you a kind of a list of three. They're kind of on the list, like, the Fresno Nightcrawler and the Loveland Frogman. And we wanted to get those things and see what everybody thought of those. And you picked the Kentucky Goblins. So what led you to leaning towards that one? Oh, I think you're muted. We got you muted there. There we go.
Okay.
Yep, we got you.
Sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. I just want to say real quick, Dave from Texas, what's going on? Mike Sanchez, Chassis Mame, and Kat Hansen. Those are people. Michelle, and I think that's all the people from like the groups that I'm kind of affiliated with and I run. So I just want to say hi to them real quick, just to give them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks everybody for watching.
Support, it's great to have people support from other groups and friends and all that, and family. So that being said, I've always been into cryptids and aliens, and I remember watching this. I don't know if it was last year, and I think it was the year before, because Operation Project Blue Book was canceled last year from COVID. I remember they did a story. There was like a series on this topic. Mm-hmm. And it just intrigued me when I saw it, with the actor that played Dr. Alan Hynek, and he kind of went out to this, he went out to the house and did all these things, and I'll get into that later. But I really like that subject. And Kentucky is, I wouldn't say I hold it dear to me, but because of like the Land by the Lakes, the whole, the creature Land by the Lakes attacks, the mm-hmm. slaughter that happened with the family in an RV, that's a pretty a topic that's been fumbled around with this last year, with new witnesses having different evidence, and new eyewitness, new story, and just a little touchy subject. So I've always been in the land between the lakes, and that being said, I just picked Kentucky because Kentucky's it's closer to North Carolina, and there's a lot out there in Kentucky. And plus, my buddy Paul Chafin runs a group called the Kentucky Dogman Project, and he sees a lot of evidence out there in Kentucky. I mean, he's got footage for days of these things in the woods, and he doesn't do nothing but just films, and he gets them on camera, and he puts he shares them with the group and with other people and other friends. So I just chose that because it intrigued me, and I was very interested in that, and I'm into aliens and cryptids and everything else. So I just why not?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I was excited too when you picked this one, because the same thing. I was a huge fan of Project Blue Book. I thought they did a really good job in the show. I mean, I know some people hated it, but the whole point was it wasn't supposed to be, we're going to give you evidence that wasn't, previously known. I think they had it like the show was going to delve into more than what Project Blue Book did. No, they were recreating what Project Blue Book did.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a really good job on that show. And when you pick this one, we'll get a little more, into it as we go. But I mean, I guess in a way I could break into this portion too before we get into the story. Mm-hmm. Most people probably are not aware of this fact though, but this was the origination of the little green men. Mm-hmm. This had never been in the lexicon before. I teased that in the beginning. What happened was, whether it was intentional or with an artistic license, or just misheard what they said. But when the family gave their statement, this reporter, they said little gray men. Mm-hmm. And this reporter wrote it down as little green men. And so when they put that in there at this time, because news is sent out it's not like now where tweet, you do all this stuff. This thing goes out into the Associated Press, the press pool. And people saw and everybody started running with little green men. This is headline catching, because at this time in the 1940s, 50s, Mars, everything is aliens from Mars, UFOs. Yeah. So you've got all this coming in. So now little green men is just boom, we could just put this stuff up everywhere. They've got it all over this place. And so this stuck. And so now from this event in August 21st, 1955 to now, this is why we refer to aliens as the little green men. Is because of this, and this was Evansville Courier and Press out of Evansville, Indiana. So this wasn't even a Kentucky newspaper.
Yeah, it wasn't even local Kentucky news.
Yeah,
it was different state, different county.
Yeah, they're
100 miles away from where they actually happened, and they were just divulging their own story, as they wanted to do, whatever. They just disclosed it how they wanted to.
It's just a little thinker. Yeah, that's where Justin, yeah, he's hard to get. You got to keep asking him. It's just, you got to keep after him. It's like he's going to keep telling you no, but eventually he's going to say yes. I mean, Lisa landed him. So like I said, just keep after. You'll probably break him down. So just keep trying. Yeah, no, that's.
Can I say something real quick? You guys got some freaking awesome beards, man. You see, I got this little Latin, Guinea, Italian, Guido patch right here. I tried to grow one like you guys, and because I'm tan, I got a really good, that Italian Guinea tan of the skin. I'm Sicilian blooded, so it didn't look too good on my skin. And then I got surgery. I had this little surgical cap, and my wife's like, "Don't try to leave the country because you might not get back." And I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right." And I just, it's all funny and just whatever it is. But so I just keep it. And on top of that, I got really bad, flaky. I don't know what you guys use product, but I tried everything that was out, 5 years ago, and it would flake like crazy. And I just said, what? I just got tired of it and buzzed it off.
It's a little bit of it's kind of a care regime. You've got to use a beard wash. You got to wash that, use that. And then it's sometimes, depending on the product, some things will dry out your skin. I mean, that's just going to happen. So you kind of have to trial and error. But a lot of the times, some of the beard care ones, like the oil, we used to be sponsored by Kelly Brott, but Brott's beard care, we use them a lot, and it's the same thing. I never really had that flaking issue with his, and it's just you put it on, so just in the beard, you go through the whole process, comb it out, and as long as you keep it clean, you don't really have a problem. A lot of times, I think it's usually if you don't wash it, but you just keep applying stuff to it, is you'll get that buildup underneath the hair, and then it's like. You scratch your beard and it looks like it's snowing below you. You're like, what happened? Yeah, it's just.
I hear you. No, but I just, it got to the point where, I do heating and air. I've done heating and air for, almost 15 years now in North Carolina. And with that kind of work, you got to just get out bright and early and beat the heat before you start sweating your butt off on a rooftop. Because I did commercial work, and you're hauling 100 pounds of tools on a roof for a 32-foot extension ladder, and pulling compressors out of units, lowering them down with a rope and all that crazy stuff. So I was like, it's too much to have a beard. So I just buzzed it off.
That's why your arms look like they're so jacked. It's because you're sitting there lowering compressor, you lower stuff up and down, three stories.
If you look behind me, this is my workout room / studio. I do Beachbody on demand, which I'm a member of Beachbody. It's like it's a program you pay about $100 a year for, and you get every exercise program ever made by this like P90X, T25. I do Body Beast right now. Body Beast is a really good bulking and ripping workout routine, and it's very intense, but you kind of start off light, and then once you kind of get used to it and feel of the weights, you can get more heavier. I used to go to the gym a lot, used to be a gym rat and all that crap, but once the gyms closed for COVID, I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll just maintain and do it at home and stay healthy, because there goes my wife. I missed the beard. She misses the beard before it got to like the, I'm the Abdullah going to kill you with my sword beard,
Yeah, you just got the jaw accent. Yeah.
It was just nice, like a thick, almost like a country boy beard almost before it got too thick. And that's the one she's talking about. Not that crazy looking,
Yeah,
you guys got some gnarly beards, but I wish I could grow mine and not, look like I'm going to, try to.
Mine's just turning more and more white because my son.
Yeah.
This is, so I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to go Santa Claus yet. So, I think at some point there may be a just for men involved, this touch of gray,
I've done that too. When it got, I darkened it and it looked totally different than my hair, but enough for the beard. Let's get back to these cryptids.
Yes, let's get back to these things. But real quick. Yeah. Oh no, and I wanted to, want to share this on here too, so people could see this thing. Because I want people to, this is the group, North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. That's the one that you're part of. So I wanted to share that off there for people. So that's where you're from. And a little real quick too, side note too, is I can't even really remember. I think it was just it was your original one that you did with Carl.
This is why I started with Carlito.
Yeah. And I started watching that. I started watching the show with you guys, commenting, and then just through there, it just kind of went to this. And I reached out to you at last minute. It's like, are you interested in this? And you jumped the chance, and I'm excited. So yeah, let's get into the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter. So who would like to start us off on this one? Because if not, I can. But I mean, if you guys want to start us off on, the only one I did research on was this one. I just kind of. Yep, that's it. That's what we're gonna.
It from my Google browser. So if you want, I can go from there and just kind of alleviate things and kind of make put two and two together. And
go for it. Yeah,
call some conspiracy coup as well. So right now you're probably still gonna see me, but I'm gonna open up my little other tab and nope.
Yep. So we're at August 21st, 1955, the day we're taking place, and then. As while he's doing that, I can give kind of a little bit of the basics. We have 11 people who are. It starts out. I'll give their names. You have Glennie Lankford is the mom. This is her. She's up at the farm. She's got her 3 young children with her: Lonnie, Charlton, and Mary. Those are children from a second marriage. Well, her older children from the previous marriage, Elmer Sutton, Lucky, and his wife Vera, Billy Ray Taylor, friends, and June Taylor, and then you have the other brother, J.C. Sutton, and his wife Arlen Sutton, and their friend O.P. Baker are all visiting. The Lucky and I think it was Lucky, if I'm not mistaken, Lucky and Vera were taken. They had a little vacation from carnival work. If I'm not,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and so everybody drives up and meets up at the farm for just a get together. They're going to stay there for a couple days, just reunite with the family. This is their childhood home. And what's that?
They're going to have a hoedown.
Yeah, it's I mean there may be some drinking involved, but
probably some moonshine. I'm sure there's moonshine involved. Maybe a little.
Kentucky,
according to the reports, we'll get into that later. They claim not at all. So,
Kentucky,
but yeah,
if you're ready, I can go start.
Go for it.
So,
go for
all right. So, alrighty. So it says the alleged encounter occurred on the Sutton's farm in a tiny rural hamlet of Kelly. It's a little parcel of part of Kentucky, not too far from Hopkinsville and in between. So, as you were saying, was it Billy Ray, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Billy Ray was out there fetching water. He saw a silver bright object, and he said it was the color of a rainbow almost. So as he recounted, they stopped everything they were doing and went back to the house. They, he told everybody about it. Not many people believed him. I'll just kind of give it a quick run through. Won't go into a whole lot of details, and then we can go on later. But about an hour later, the dog was going crazy. Lucky and Billy Ray went to the back door, make out a strange glow. In the midst of what they saw, a small humanoid creature. It was about 3.5 feet tall, had an oversized head and almost perfectly round. Its arms extended to the ground, hands had talons, oversized eyes that glowed with a yellowish light, and the body gave off an eerie shimmer in the light. And also, it's not described in here, but I've read some other I've watched some other videos as well, and they kind of commented that it looked like it was hovering over the ground. It wasn't really walking; it was hovering.
Yeah.
So the two men grabbed the 20 gauge and the 22, and they started firing. Its hands raised up. And honestly, this is the crazy part about it. The gunshots, they hit it, but it didn't affect these things. It just, it kind of just moved around and made some kind of like skittish noise and came back. So let's see. Shortly after.
Yeah, let's. Like I said, I'm going to put up here pictures. Yeah. I've got my. I'm on my game here. I've got my images for ants. Awesome. So everybody, zoom in on your pictures. You got to put your nose against the screen to see the images I'm putting up here for you. So that we got a couple of different ones here, just real quick, so everybody can kind of get an idea of the different drawings from the witnesses. And there, let me take this off here so everybody can see the picture he's showing up, which is a little bit easier to see. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, the large eyes and those distinctive ears and
long arms. Look at how long their arms are. If this is a distinct drawing from, I think this is Billy Ray's drawing, or the lead.
Yeah, long, almost dragging arms to the ground, but they're floating. And they had one description was feet that almost looked like suction cups.
Yeah. And the funny thing about this is, not many people realize this back then, but if you guys remember the movie Gremlins, these things is the identical attributes of body physical features of a gremlin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you mentioned that to me, I was starting to wonder too. It's like, because I know Steven Spielberg, he credits this encounter as part of his inspiration for E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But he leads some of the stuff to this, and I was wondering, I didn't see anything when you mentioned that, but I wonder if the director, of Gremlins, if there were, and when they were going through this, if somebody leaned on this as inspiration for that character.
Well, look at that. Like Lucas was inspiration. Chewbacca was inspired from a Bigfoot. So anything's possible. It's all disclosure in movies. And we've talked about this in other groups, not your group, but in other groups and other live streams. We've talked about how a lot of movies put these things out as a small disclosure. You're used to seeing them. And then when you actually see them in real life, you're not going to be bugged out and, run for the hills. So you're going to be like, oh, yeah, whatever. It's just from a movie. Whatever. It is what it is.
Yep. It's we talk, and it's really. Yeah, George Lucas had Dogman and Star Wars in the bar scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from David. David just put that up. David from Texas.
Awesome, dude.
Differentiate that one. But yeah, one of the kind of going that. So yeah, so what Billy Ray was doing is he just gone out to refill his water glass, like he said, and he just came back with that outlandish claim that he just saw this craft, with rainbows coming out from behind it, and he came back in, and then that's when. I think part of it for me in this instance, when it first began, the part that really lent to me is, like you said, here's these 2 to 3 foot tall, creatures that have this, like they said, that silverish metallic look to them, floating with those glowing eyes coming at him. He runs in, tells a claim, nobody, everybody's just like, seriously, you went to the well to get water. Yeah. It's, you come in, and then, you have it, and then I'll let you continue here, because this is the part where this really starts to take a little bit of start for the ramp up of what's going to happen this evening, is when Glennie, Langford, the mom, and what she sees next. And so and I said, I'm not sure if you got that handy.
Sutton's move. I'm on the part where the screen window, where you see it in the screen window, they shoot out, and they shoot out the screen window, the thing flips over, and then, it's still impervious to bullets, went out in the hallway, crouched down, and then they saw another one approaching the door. Yeah, that's
where, so I'll fill that while you're looking there. They're telling her, I hope you don't have to find out what's going on. Well, while they were sitting there waiting to see if these creatures reappeared, she lets out a scream, because standing in the doorway is this 3-foot tall, goblin creature, alien creature, standing there, and she lets out a scream, and everybody runs in there, not knowing what, so everybody, this causes her to fall over, in a panic. And so one of these things that's going on with this story that's really, for me, usually when you have this kind of, anytime you have a cryptid encounter, anytime you have, whether it's Bigfoot, whether it's Mothman, whatever you go, you're going to have like the one or two offs that, people will tell this story. They'll give these kind of encounters. But when you start getting these multiple people that are seeing the same thing, we go back to the Van Meter visitor in Van Meter, Iowa. This is when you have facets from everything from businessmen to the town drunk to, everybody's describing almost identically the same thing. It lends a lot more credibility, because even though we'll get into what the theories are about this, what they are here in just a second. But when you have seven or eight adults.
8 adults, 3 children.
3 children.
So when you have 8 adults describing the same exact thing, anybody that does forensics, you're going to have people. I don't have a map to show you, but I mean, if you looked at a map of a house and you see something, like if I'm looking at something right now and I tell you guys, oh my God, I see an alien floating towards me in the doorway. Well, Chris is over to my left in another window. You're out on the porch looking somewhere. You guys are seeing something from a different venue, from a different angle, a different way. So you're going to be able to see things differently. But if you guys see the same exact thing, it can't be a reflection from moonlight. It can't be, because the angles are different. So there's going to be a change. But if you're still seeing glowing eyes, all 3 of us are still seeing glowing eyes and the same reflection on the body, this has got to lend a little bit of credibility to the story that all these people have told.
But let's back up a little bit before we get too far into this, that the mother, she really thought it was a joke. She told the kids, let's go to bed before, she really was like, oh, this is a joke. But I wonder what really happened in her mind when she realized it wasn't a joke. These people really almost shut up their whole house and didn't even scathe the monster.
You're right. I mean, it started up as possibly, the guys are playing a hoax on trying to, scare people, scare the ladies and the kids and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, the real deal, Holyfield comes out and they're like, oh, crap, we're in for it now.
Yeah. And I think one of the things, like for me, that was really, to me, like in the story, I'm putting myself in my mind and what these guys, this men and women, even the kids are going to go through, is here you see this alien creature floating towards you, but now it's not just one, it's multiple. If I remember, they count up to 12. And they're on the roof. They're peeking in the windows. They're peeking in the doors. So, I mean, just anybody that's seen Communion, all of a sudden you just got this alien just floating in, just looking through the window, and you hear on the roof, you hear the movement of something on the roof. And then I think it was, I'll have to make sure I don't mess that part up, but I want to say it was somebody, I'm trying to think who was out by the back door. I think Billy Ray. I think he was there, and there was a clawed hand that reached down from the roof, grazing his hair.
Yep. And his wife snatched him back.
Aline grabbed him, pulled him back. And so, I mean, I'm putting myself in, how crazy would that be? Like I said, the three of us and families, we're all sitting there at this cabin, and all of a sudden, I'm standing out there, you guys are behind me, and you see this clawed hand just come down and start grazing my hair. I'm like, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, this is actually, it said, real quick, the group screamed, Taylor pulled back Lucky, and Lucky shot over the overhang, and then at another similar creature in a nearby tree. And then the creature floated to the ground and scurried into the woods. And these things were making like little whistle clicking noises of what was told in the video I watched. So this is pretty intense. I mean, they moved inside, spent several hours inside, and then I think, hearing scratches on the roof. 11 p.m. They finally ran for their cars and ran for the police station, and we can kind of go from there. Because that's another big issue because of what went out there. It wasn't just your local police, and we can get into that too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, as they're shooting too, they've got a shotgun, they've got the shotgun and the 22, and as they're shooting them, they said clearly that they hit, they hit them, at different times, and that when they'd hit them, they would just like roll off the roof, land, and then come back.
Yeah,
they wouldn't make like a sound, they wouldn't make a scream, they would just like hit. It was like they described. It was almost as if they had something like armor protecting them, and so as we get into one of the theories, remember this part right here. They said they clearly shot them, and so when we get to some of the theories in here, you'll see kind of why I don't really believe the Project Blue Book.
But
I won't buy that.
But they were more fascinated with the kids. I wonder why. They really wasn't fascinated with those. They say they were kept trying to head towards the children.
The kids' rooms upstairs.
So I wonder what was the fascination with the kids. Were they trying to abduct them so they could take over their bodies? I mean, who knows? But they were more fascinated with the kids. They didn't want to be bothered with
a lot of these cryptid, paranormal, and even alien that they're interested in kids is because of the kids' innocence. The kids have the innocence that can't be that child's innocence is something that these things prey on. It's a big factor among everything. It all connects, and we can go into that later on another time or whatever. But if you kind of research all these factors and factions and all the spectrums of paranormal, cryptid, and aliens, something about children, their fascination with children. Even David from Texas says, the kids have the adrenochrome. Maybe they feed off that adrenochrome from their frequency because it's pure. It's not tainted like adults. Once you become an adult, everything becomes tainted. You're bad, you're evil, you sin. Kids have that innocence, and something about that is just attractive.
It could be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I know. So at this point, like I said, this was pretty much from dark to just as we're going there, this thing, and then finally this attack. We'll call it the attack. Just kind of becomes comes to a lull, and so at this time, Lucky, I want to say I'm not sure if all 11 of them got out. I'm trying to remember on this one. I think that everyone did. Yeah, so everyone made a break for it, piled in their vehicles, and headed into Hopkinsville to make this report.
Absolutely.
And so the sergeant working at this front desk, didn't he didn't know what to say to these people, because everybody comes piling in right before midnight, and they make a claim that they've been in a firefight with little silver men.
Can you imagine how that went? By golly, what you say? You saw it. It's 12 o'clock in the morning. What did you see?
Yeah. It's funny you said that, because that was the same thing. I'm just picturing some backwoods, Kentucky people rolling in, just talking about a gunfight. I mean, like I said, the two people, I think, they're carnies. They're working the carnival. So you've already, everybody's putting that stereotype in your mind.
Yeah, Joe Dirt, Mama Joe Dirt, rolling.
Yeah, so you come rolling in. We've just been in a firefight with, the little silver man. We've been shooting all night. They've been scaring us. They almost took the kids. I mean, everybody's just going crazy, in my mind. I'm picturing this whole thing. I've got it. Yeah, and so here it is. I mean, just imagine Christian County Sheriff's Office is just like, what the, is going on? And so they so they radio the state police. They
Mhm.
radio, like I said, the county sheriff's now involved, and they've also radioed Fort Campbell.
Fort
So now
Campbell.
you've got, because now
MP.
made a report,
County, state,
aliens. Yeah, you got aliens, UFO, and so now you've got basically a convoy of people coming up to find out if we've got a Hatfield McCoy type situation going on up there in the backwoods of Kelly, Kentucky. And so they run in, and I'll let you guys, because I've got the list over here what they found. So you have all these. So there's at least, according to the reports, there's at least 6 combined law enforcement that show up on the Sutton farm along with the family. And I'll let one of you guys, I don't care. I'll let one of you guys take what they find.
Real quick, it says we've got 4 city police, 5 state troopers, and 3 deputy sheriffs. And then you got 4 military police from Fort Campbell. About 100 shells, shotgun shells, and it says something about a little bit of not too much evidence of liquor, because the matriarch, which was the mama, said liquor was not allowed in the farmhouse. So there's your part on that. And so it's just strange that they had military police there as well. But so they might have threw that word, little green, little man Martian. They who knows what they said, but whatever it was, it caused them to be intuitive to come out there. So
I find that kind of crazy that they say they found over 100 shotgun shells. If you remember anything like I remember, Grandpa only had like a box of bullets with a 12 gauge sitting by the wall back in the day. Like that was enough bullets to sustain. I don't know about 100 rounds.
But you think about that. I mean, that's not. I mean, once again, put your mind in this. Like the kids. I mean, think about that. Just like if you got your kids there with you, you're scared. And you're just unloading your shotgun at something, just bam, bam. I mean, 100 shells. I mean,
it could have been 22s. I mean, you buy a box of 22 caliber shells in big boxes. There's like 200 shells in one box. So it could have been a combination of both, because there's really no precise determination of what they found. It could have been 20, 30 shotgun shells, and the rest were 22 shells, because like I said, there are a lot. You're going to want, when you're mass shooting, you want to go through your cheap ammo, because especially nowadays, ammo is expensive as hell. I mean, 100 rounds is about as much as a car right now, so it's crazy.
So this time, like I said, they're with flashlights out there. They're searching the property, and all they're finding is holes in the wall, holes in the walls, holes in the windows, and screen. And this one can kind of the theories as we're coming. We're going to start getting into some of those. But why, because people are like, when you hear the theories, you'll think, okay, now we've got some people. This is their house. They've lived here. They know the area. They're shooting through the windows. They're shooting through the doors. They're shooting up the place. They're not drunk. And one officer noticed something glowing in the woods. And when he went over there, it gave off kind of an iridescent sheen, is what they said. And this is one of the things that's such, that always frustrates me when you see these cases from the 1940s and 50s, because you're used to today's, CSI techniques. You're like, why didn't somebody collect a sample? Take it, put it in a bag, do all this. Maybe they did, and the military, confiscated it. But it's just, there's so many things that you look at, like photographs. I think there's only 2 known, photographs that, I may not be just known, but it's just like that you can really find. There's like 2 or 3 that you can find online that show like a picture of the house. I mean, you don't have a lot of photographs of the area. I mean, I wish they showed like holes in the windows and stuff.
Yeah.
But they didn't really take a lot there wasn't like a crime scene photo. They didn't just snap away. I mean, because that would be something like nowadays. How cool would that be to have that photo of the shells all over the floor?
Oh yeah. And from the sounds of the description, it's only like a 3-room house. So it probably wasn't that big. I mean, some of the kids were probably all sleeping together in one room and adults in another. And maybe, the living room / kitchen, they were probably all just scattered out. So it was, I'm sure it was a small old home back those times.
Yeah. And so this one, so after this, so the police, everybody's out there for a couple hours, and after not finding anything, they leave. So, so everybody's just kind of starting to wind down again. Finally people start to calm down. Nothing's gone. So everybody's going to bed. And this is where all is straight out of the scene from Communion. When Whitley Strieber is sitting there in his chair, for anybody that's seen that movie, this is one where it gets out. Glennie is, fitful nap. She's never really in deep sleep, but she just kind of, I'll use artistic license here. I'll say rolled over because it sounds cooler. She rolls over, she starts to wake up and looks, and there's one of these creatures on the side of her bedroom window looking in. So she just, freaks out again, yells out. Lucky, who's, out on the couch, comes bursting in, to see the creature, flees, goes away. And now him and Billy Ray spend the next couple of hours watching guard, just to see, but nothing else happens. And so at daybreak, the creatures are gone. And this, and so, I agree. This is one of those things where it's just, people, you think about it. I mean, just how freaky, and David's like, I'd run through the wall. Yeah, they really, this family, like going through this, this is a terrifying encounter for anybody. It doesn't matter what it is. And I don't know if you guys want to get into it, I'm great with that. The theories that were thrown out of what this actually was.
Go ahead, Chris.
And so
you're muted.
He muted. There he is.
The theory is that it was some I didn't really have any theories that it was. I mean,
okay.
They was said that they were greenhorned owls, and
yes,
there was even some to the extent of little monkeys escaping a local zoo. That's kind of what was in the Project Blue Book series, and that was added as well. But the greenhorned owl things that was stated by, I don't know if it was like local authorities or what, but it's impossible that they can. I mean, you shoot an owl, you hit an owl, it's going to drop, it's going to die right there on the spot. These things just keep bouncing around and floating, but that was the cover-up story. So,
and there was one video I was watching as I was doing the research, and they laid it out really good. It's like, okay, they're carnies, here. Okay, so you have it. So they're like, well, here's kind of the hoax. But one, not only would you have to have a carnival with monkeys, you'd have to have a carnival with monkeys that are spray painted silver. Mm-hmm. So you got silver carnival monkeys, and not only those carnival monkeys would have to make it from the carnival to your farm, and you'd have to somehow be out there releasing the monkeys as they come in. And this, so I wasn't a fan of that one. And then the greenhorned owl was like, when I told everybody a few minutes ago, pay attention to this part. They shot him, just like you said. If you shoot an owl, anybody that shot a bird, for whether you're bird hunting or anything, or seen one, there's feathers everywhere. Mm-hmm. So if you shoot an owl, you're going to see those feathers are going to be all over the place. They didn't see feathers. There's no mention in any of the investigation reports that we saw owl feathers everywhere. And, Lucky, it's, said on, several occasions, we hit them, we shot them. We actually shot them, saw them hit, roll off, get back up, and, scurry around. So there would be feathers all over the place if this was an owl. And two, this is their farm. You don't think they know what a great horned owl looks like? They've lived here. I mean, I don't know anybody that's lived at, if you're used to seeing something, you're not going to freak out if a great horned owl comes floating up, and smacks into the window because you got too close to a nest. Let alone shooting up your door and your windows and your house, scaring everybody. You'd have to be absolutely out of your mind drunk to pull that one off. And through the investigation, they said there was no alcohol that would get these people impaired.
And it seems like they had onlookers a couple days after people were trying to get on the property, and they were actually charging 50 cents to get on their property. I think it was like $1 to get information. I think it was like $10 to get a picture. So they were making money off this, but I don't think they were I think they were just figured, hey, let's give it a whirl. Let's make if this is gonna happen. Let's start charging people to come here. because I mean they probably had media people flocking to their farmhouse. So they're like, hey, let's take advantage of the situation. Why not?
Do you realize how valuable $10 was in the 1950s?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing. And as we get into there, it's like project. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can bring this picture up here, so real quick, so everybody could see here. Because here's one of them. I just found an article that had it in here. So everybody, I know it's like I said, it's one of my awesome pictures. But if you can see, here's one picture of the house. And this is Lucky looking up. And so I think this overhang right here is where one of the clawed, taloned hands reach down. And they, when they describe it, when Project Blue Book was doing the investigation, they said, well, when an owl comes to swoop in, it looks like they're floating and they got their wings down. But once again, it's, when you look at an image, yeah, it kind of does resemble the owl the way it looks. But once again, if you shot it, where are the feathers? That's the biggest thing I'm hung up on.
Blue Book was their main purpose. Their main and sole purpose was to disclaim all these eyewitnesses and all these encounters throughout the years, and kind of be like a disinformation agent, because they didn't want the mass population to go crazy over all this that was going on. So they found their ways to silence people and kind of divert everything to swamp gas. Oh, it's swamp gas. Never mind, swamp gas. Everything's swamp gas now. So
yeah,
they did.
I think it's one of those too where it is for me, it's such a fantastic story in that it's unlike any other encounter. And let's see, I can, like I said, Chassie, I'll get right there. I'll get that link up here in just one second here for people. I'll show here. This should be a much better picture for people. You should guys be able to see this a little bit better. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So join the U.S. Army Reserve here, by the way, too. Yeah. You've got the little men is pictured, in newspapers. And so they have the different, so you can see, like this, where they're kind of making it like the owl, but the different drawings from the staff, based off descriptions, they're not, once these descriptions, I mean, yes, could it look like this, but you've got humanoid features. This is not an owl.
Not at all.
And that's, so I have a hard time. I have a real hard time with that one. I know they really hung up on that meteors were what they saw. But once again, like usually when you have military come in and say, well, it was meteor showers, a meteor, I don't know if I've ever seen one as it's going suddenly slow down. No. It usually streaks across. And so, if he just said, I just saw the streak go across the sky, but you said, I saw something just come floating by that looked like it had rainbows coming out of it. And that doesn't sound like a meteor to me.
Not a meteor, not a comet. No, it's not to have that spectrum of light. I mean, usually a comet or a meteor is going to have like one little tail of light, and it's going to be like an orangish, yellowish color to it. From the hewing out of the atmosphere and burning off, its trajectory. So, any kind of rainbow color is definitely not anything to do with comets or meteors or asteroids. So.
It also says in one of the reports they were looking for like smoke trails, but nobody smoke coming up out of the woods, but no one knows how that vehicle was powered. So I mean, your first instinct would be to look for smoke if you see something crash, but we don't know what kind of intelligence they have to power their vehicle.
Good point.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. I mean, it's Dr. Alan Hynek, he was one from Project Blue Book. That's the set going down here. And Tom, he mentioned that in the beginning of the show, the way that they did this. If nobody's seen this one, go watch the series, Project Blue Book. I think, is it Netflix that had that?
I would think it's on History Channel on demand or something.
History. Go watch that. They have an. I think they called the episode was like Little Men or something like. It's just, Little Green. It's a really cool. It kind of they did a really good job, showing this episode, with the way. I mean, and you'll see they'll talk about the owls the way they did this, but this, because even now, one of the granddaughters is, she's written lots of books, and even in Hopkinsville in Kelly they have a festival on the 21st, so that's coming up here in less than
a month,
about 3 weeks, so anniversary. So I think the 60, if I'm doing my math correctly, 66th anniversary of this. And then, but they, I mean, kind of go from this on this note for you guys. Where do you find holes in the family's the family's story? I mean, with your research, did you find any that you look at it and you're like, the hoax side? Like, because for me, I'll kick it off. For me, the part that was a little more convincing is the families left and sold the property.
That's a very convincing one to me, that you got up out of there.
Yeah. They didn't set up a carnival attraction, like you said, you just start selling admission. I mean, they got out of there. I mean, after this event, they packed up that day. They came back, they left that next morning. Everybody left. Nobody stuck around. They were gone. When they sold the property. And so I said, me personally, I have a hard time, going with the hoax thing, but like I said, I'll see what you guys found, like that you think,
get out of Dodge. There's no reason to hoax. I mean, that's pretty much substantial claims that you're not trying to, profit or snake oil sale and all that, that you're trying to get out of there. You're trying to, you're pretty much concerned for your family and you want nothing to do with that place. So you get the hell out. And, that's by all means, that's about as truthful as I could say, like you were saying.
But I mean, I couldn't find what happened to the property. You would think if it was some extraterrestrial, the military would have bought it, since it was so close to a military base, just to continue their cover up if they knew exactly what happened. Because they did come out and investigate. I mean, if they wouldn't have came out and investigate, that would have raised more red flags, I think, as we're right next to the military. Why wouldn't they come out if we say aliens or whatever the case may be? But in some of these instances, you would think the military would acquire that property. That's what I would think. And
I'm gonna say, right, Steve Riley, he asked a question here too, and I feel absolutely like I failed you not at trying researching this. Is a farmhouse still there? I don't know if I actually saw anything. If the property is still there,
anything either? No, it's probably leveled off. But you got a chassis says the MIB probably came. When Blue Book came, that was the MIB back then. So that was the original MIB.
These stories kind of die off. I mean, they have festivals, but if they have a festival, maybe the farmhouse is still there. But you're right, we didn't find that. Great question.
I'm sure the locals have been there generations probably know where it is. If you went around doing some on the ground investigating and research, you could probably find out where the property was and where the house was standing if you spent a couple days out in that area.
Yeah, it's like if you look at the map, it's pretty easy to spot. Like I said, just Hopkinsville, and then just immediately north is a little community, and they have I think I looked it up here and I had it, but they have a festival too. And
that's what I was just talking about, the festival.
Yep, the Little Green Men Days in Kelly, Kentucky. And so I got a picture here to I can show everybody. So this is one, if anybody's in the area, this is also a festival. And so you can go. So this is courtesy of the Washington Post that's posted up here. So that's, but yeah, let's see. I think I might have just ejected myself out of the screen, out of the show here. I think I'm okay. Nope, I'm back. Oh, man, that was close. I hit the wrong button.
They say, why would the military show up for monkeys or owls? That's the point. Yeah, you're right. I don't think it was monkeys or owls. But what I can't wrap my head around is how you shoot the creature. I mean, if they had some kind of armor, there would be some kind of traces of skin or something from the armor or whatever. I mean, because they didn't say the bullets were ricocheting back. And anybody who ever shot a shotgun knows if you're shooting buck or spread, it's going to hit something. I mean, so you would think there would be some kind of bio or something there from the extraterrestrial.
Who's to say that these things weren't like, projections? Like, they say this new technologies projecting images of things. Maybe they were projected images.
Yeah.
You think
alien technology?
That could be. I mean, that could be too. I mean, that's as you're saying that, I'm just, because there's always been that thing, early robotics. It could have been something that was a drone technology that we wouldn't, that wouldn't have been able to explain.
But 1955? I don't know.
Well, we're talking aliens here. We're not talking us.
Yeah, we didn't get technology until early '60s. I mean, we started at paperclip, and Wernher von Braun started the part of NASA rocket and all that. But NASA wasn't really started by Wernher von Braun. It was started by some other people. So I won't go into names because that's just some demonology stuff and some real occult things from Nazi Germany and some other individuals. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, I think as you guys were talking about there, I'm trying to think of the quote. But it's the technology we see today is we've had for decades.
That is, I think that's from Lockheed.
Yeah, it's
a Lockheed quote because I've seen some Lockheed stuff on some podcasts today, talking about some things that back in the '60s. We got stuff that can take ET back home and all that kind of crazy stuff from the '80s.
Skunk Works, I think.
Yeah, Skunk Works.
Yep, that's it.
Ben. I can't think of his last name, but the guy's name was Ben, the founder. He died in the '90s or something, and was taken over by some other corporation.
Let me look. I'll look that up for you real quick, Jaron. I'm not about the location from there for that base. Because that's. But I'm kind of there too, because here's this technology. I mean, there's really good chance because we've in several shows we've talked about, the Nazis were just ramping up the technology. So I mean, could this be something that we got from Nazi scientists, and this was experimental craft, something that they were experimenting with, they lost control of, and downplay it possibly. But
not only that, Roswell was 47, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 1947. Roswell.
So we're talking 8 years. I mean,
we already recovered all that craft stuff back in and went to Wrightsville-Patterson in Ohio. So we were already versed technology on all that stuff from Roswell. So we might have had a little bit of tech at the time of 55.
That's a great point. Okay, so
Fort Campbell. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, Fort Campbell.
Yeah, Fort Campbell here. So I'm gonna look this up here. So yeah, this is some great audio. All right, let me look at the map. Click. Yeah, it's let's see. Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I don't think it's probably going to be fairly close to that area, just for the fact of it's super close. All right, here we go. I'm going to share here. So for the question here for people, like how close it is it? All right, so now this will be a good thing to bring up the map for everybody. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, okay, for everybody to see. So here's Fort Campbell. Here's Hopkinsville. I mean, obviously the town's going to be a little smaller, but we're talking. That looks like basically off of the map. I mean, we're maybe 8-10 miles, and then just up the road here, I think somewhere pretty close to here is
Kelly.
There's Kelly right there. So this location around here is about where the farm is. It's somewhere in here. So here's Hopkinsville where they went to, and then there's Fort Campbell. So it's right in the area. And then Joey Medea from Into the Outer Realms, he's like Ben Rich.
Yeah, Ben Rich.
Yep.
That was Skunk Works, innovator.
And then, so Jaron, like you said, it's really close. So getting military police from the base is incredibly, Chess, and we will elaborate. We'll have an episode on Skunk Works. That is a fantastic one. So
that's a good one. Yeah.
Yes, stay tuned. That's why maybe we'll have to do this again with that one. So he says this base would have definitely seen a rainbow comet, and that's where I think if we really had to break this down to, if we had to say, I don't believe it was aliens, it was us, I would be more willing to say this was something that was military, and they were already alert. And when they started having the Sutton family freaking out, they knew where it was at. And so they brought them to they were able to, as the family's freaking out, that was probably in cleanup mode already. They were probably already picking everything up. So when everybody comes back, they're going around, see, nothing's here, and they're taking off.
Did you, I just realized that Fort Campbell is actually in Tennessee, but the post office is right across the tracks in Kentucky. So how far was the distance from the actual house? Or we don't know that?
It's only 8 miles from Kelly to, I think it was about 8 miles from Kelly to Hopkinsville. And then based off that map, it looks like that's maybe 10 miles. Maybe if I was looking at the thing right. So, I mean, I didn't put in a destination thing, but yet so even at that time, that's not a long distance to travel.
I'm going to check the distance right now and see what it says.
What do you want to know? To
Fort Campbell to Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that was, so here we have something it's absolutely, a fascinating story that has changed the way all of us view UFO encounters after this incident. And I mean, I absolutely love the fact that you brought in the, Gremlins look too. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just made it kind of, sometimes I try to look, see beyond the big picture and kind of put two and two together, or kind of see things that other people don't see. That's why you have to have a really big open mind and kind of see things for what they are, and take everything with a grain of salt. And if you see something that has resemblance, you always, throw it into your little pot and let it boil and see how everyone's opinions are on it.
Yeah, AV was like they might have been, soldiers with, early night vision technology.
Maybe so, because it says the base is they train some of the best soldiers in the world. It's actually like for air assault, the 101st Airborne Division. So maybe it could have been a special plane or something they were testing out that went down, and the Army people had no choice but to look like ETs. I mean,
so yeah. So how far?
36 minutes of a drive, and it's 28.5 miles.
Yeah, so that's not that
if
far.
You use I-69. I mean, there's other routes and other routes to take it, and maybe the older route might have been 39 minutes and 31 miles because maybe I-69 wasn't around back then. So who knows? But it's less than 40-minute ride, less than 30 miles or so, give or take, off the crow's foot.
But it's crazy, ironically, that there's got to be some correlation to everything I noticed where there's ETs or sightings of. They're fairly close to military bases. This is not too far at all. So who knows?
Yeah, but it's Chastity's like here. It's it's one of those. But the fact that's a problem with the factual information side of this is there wasn't ever an improper investigation, because they didn't have the evidence taking, because one of those, we have reports from the police, they saw something that with an iridescent sheen on it. We have the bullet holes. We have all the families, their statements, the drawings that we put up there of those pictures. That was those were taken during basically the deposition, that where here's my testimony, this is what I saw. We have this stuff, but when they got back there, there's nothing. That's unfortunate. It's like we don't have those photographs. That's the problem. I mean, I think a lot of us too nowadays, and that's where I have to keep reminding myself is, because I don't know if you guys ever do this. When you watch some old show, it's like, what are you doing? Don't step in the blood. Don't touch that. Well, they didn't have that back then. They didn't have the fingerprint stuff. They didn't have the DNA testing. And so you look at it and you're like, you're contaminating the scene, and you realize that wasn't even a thing. Nobody even thought about that. And now
crime scene tape at the time for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, you had the guy come there with a notebook. Yeah, you saw little gray men. Okay, and you shot at him. Okay, well, we'll see what we can do. They hop in the car and they take off. Nobody thinks twice about it, and that's it. It's one of those remiss things where back through history you really want to do this, but I still hang my hat for me on. I'm a believer that something definitely occurred that wasn't a natural phenomenon like an owl or some other creature that they've seen all the time, because I moved here from Oregon. I've seen things, I've seen owls, I've seen hawks, you see all this stuff. If one flies at the window, I'm not mistaking this for an alien from a UFO. I know what I'm looking, we know what we're looking at. Anybody that's been out in the woods, and especially when you live there, the local wildlife. And so you're not gonna make that mistake. I mean, it may startle you, if you're standing right there and all of a sudden a bird smacks a window, you're gonna jump, but you're not immediately gonna start shooting up the place.
I mean, you're right. They had a farmhouse. They were pretty much farmers from Kentucky. Don't know what they were growing, but they were farmers, and they saw something that they've never seen before, and they took action. And then they, once they figured that they were out of options, they all they knew to do was go to the law, go to the lawman, go to the sheriff's office. That's what they did.
And they did that. And I said, and everybody was called in to investigate. And I said, and for even the U.S. Air Force to send Project Blue Book lends us to this wasn't just some drunken hillbilly, shoot up the place party. I mean, I said, you're sending the military, you're sending in this elite investigation team at the time.
Yeah.
Project Blue Book.
It even says there was little evidence of any, alcohol, for the matriarch would not allow it in the farmhouse. So obviously they weren't kicking back old Granny Smith's moonshine. So
yeah. And, Jared, it's great. It's like, no way they misidentified. So that's the thing. So I think the biggest mystery to this day, I mean, are we going to solve it tonight? No, but there's still that thing is, what did they see? That's the mystery. And I think that's what's so cool about this story is that there's still that unknown part of, all we know is we got the account, and everybody described, they made it, there's little variations, in the shape and everything that they have, but they all described an almost similar proportion creature. And like I said from the beginning, if all of us are in different locations, we're going to see something in a different way. But if we all describe the same thing, there starts to lend credibility to this. And that's kind of in any field. The more correlation you get between accounts, the more likelihood that this is something that isn't just a one-off. I saw that this is actually something that is there.
Let me see if this pops up. I don't know if you've heard of this part, but there was actually another encounter that happened. I can't vouch for how true it is, but there was something that happened in 2012. I didn't really take a lot of notes on it, but I just kind of read a quick, it was almost like a YouTube video of an old paranormal researcher that was contacted by a doctor. I think his name was Dr. Lee or Dr. David. And this was, I'm pretty sure this was in the same area of Kentucky. And he said he moved into a house and these things were harassing his family. And I think his wife left and his son left, or his family left. And he stayed there with a friend. And he was trying to get pictures of these things. And they were pretty much, from the pictures I've seen in the little video skit, they look like, your intentional gray aliens. So one of the things took the guy's dog. and I think he was saying something that referred. He kept backtracking these things. He would see like the footprints, and he'd see like toys that were taken from his house, and they would all be laying next to an old mine shaft. So he was trying to get somebody to blow up this mine shaft out. He was thinking that these things were living in the mines. The old mine shaft were next to his house, about maybe a couple miles out.
And this is kind of, yeah. But the thing that was just immediately stuck into my mind is we did that show months ago about the Van Meter visitor, and it's the same thing. That's where that creature retreated to, was a mine. And never came back out. They barricaded it. So it's kind of weird that it's just, so there's here we have multiple encounters, and they seem to have the same thing, that they're coming from underground, and we want to seal this so that we don't, they can't get back out. And so that was what just really stuck with me. It's like, here we have multiple accounts of that same exact type of activity, but different creatures.
Where was this at?
What's that?
Where was this at?
Van Meter, Iowa. It's
Okay.
just it's just to the west of Des Moines.
That's not that far.
Yeah.
2 state and a half away or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So yeah, it's not that far. And so so here's this, and the Van Meter visitor was basically, it had the resemblance of a pterodactyl, but it had it looked like a crystal, something in the forehead that would shoot out a laser light.
Oh wow.
Like a light beam would come out of its forehead. So and this is one that you would have everybody from prominent businessmen to just normal people in the town all encountered the same thing. And so here's, like I said, you have 8 adults and 3 kids, and everybody's describing the same exact creature. And so, I mean, I would assume that one of them would say, no, I'm pretty sure that was an owl.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, and David was talking about, there is there's cave system all throughout there. And so I'm wondering, and that's, BMOS,
cave system. That's
appreciate
the largest cave in the nation, right?
Yes. There's one I've shown a picture. I don't have it handy right here. But they have an overlay map. They do it on this. It's a really meme. I think I share it again too. But when you overlay them on top of each other, missing persons and this cave system match up pretty closely. All these reports of these missing. So there's just, it's pretty.
Missing 411.
It's a lot like that, and it's just, but when you see that overlay, it's just like I said, when they go, it's like just a little bit off, but you just see all these missing people, and it's just, and it happens to have clusters where these larger cave systems are.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and so that's
the correlation's insane. How, like you said, the missing persons and caves are kind of like hand in hand.
Yeah, and so, wow, man, that hour flew.
Yeah, it did.
It went.
We're gonna have to do this again. We have to do this again with other subjects, and kind of I mean, if you guys don't mind having me back on, I could do more research on the other topics, and we can kind of power out from that point as well.
Yeah, I can I'll see what we got on the schedule. And you said maybe line up one. So I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
This is what I said. I love doing panel discussions with other people, because everyone has opinions and topics and theories, and it's great how all the minds connect, and we kind of just collaborate together and brainstorm things and put all of our facts together, and all the our own personal theories as well. So
yeah, I really appreciate you coming on too. It's everybody, I said subscribe, YouTube, just like I said, we'll keep you up to date when these are. Also go to Facebook. I mean, I know it's a private group. Do you want me to keep promoting it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I also have a YouTube North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project on YouTube. If anybody's interested, I have a good amount of videos uploaded. If anybody wants to check it out and subscribe, I'd be more than likely to have you as a subscriber, because I think I'm like under 100 right now. So my goal is to get to 1,000 so I could do my own live stream from YouTube. But that's it's for
we're all trying to get.
I know we are trying to the magical 1,000. We got to get to this magical. So yes,
I have a fairy godmother to like sprinkle magic dust over me and be like, "Oh, you got 1,000 subscribers now," blah blah blah. So
yeah, so I'll go right now on YouTube, and like I said, I'll search it up, and I'll make sure that we subscribe to you right now, so that way
I'll make sure that I subscribe to yours as well. And if you want to send me this link, because I can actually take this link and from my Facebook group and download it onto a little app I have, and then share it to my own YouTube. So if you guys don't mind, I could do that as well. So it also went out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll send you the links too.
Well.
Yep. So
yes.
Yep. Three Beards just subscribed to North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. So there we go. So that's what we do here. That's what. Yeah. So everybody, let me share it up here.
It's yours.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I share it up here. So on Facebook, so like I said, the North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project, NCCPP there, Tom Kardos, go ahead and just, subscribe to that. I said 1.8 thousand members. That you guys are growing pretty good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you,
sir.
Then,
same thing. YouTube right here. You got, I said, you're up. Yeah. You're up to 96. There you go.
Awesome.
That's the biggest part about collaboration. I mean, people think that, you can't help nobody else get to the top, or you can't, I just wanted to plug that. People think you can't help nobody else, or nobody else can't help you. I mean, in this world, it's actually a pretty big group on believing in paranormal. Mm-hmm. And then you got people that just get in these groups and debunk, oh, no, you're stupid, you're crazy. I mean, so we all got to stick together in this mind of paranormal and ET and stuff like that. So, we're glad to help you. We're glad to have you on tonight.
I don't mind, collaborating, helping all fellow folks in this field, because they said if we all work together, we can accomplish so much in this community, and instead of the division that just seems to rip things apart. And I don't believe in that. I believe in fellowship, camaraderie, and just helping your fellow brother in this field, because it's all about, in the end of the day, we're all doing the same thing, trying to get the same truth, figure it out and find out why, and that's it.
Yeah, and so same thing, David. You have the Kentucky DM Project, and if you guys have those links for me, send those to us too, for that, so we can find those on, and we can link up and connect you guys. But yeah, I mean, everybody just take time, like each other, favorite it, support each other. And I said it's one of those. As you guys find stuff, you guys are more than welcome to share on our page as well.
Awesome.
As you find stuff that's really cool as a community to grow. But I can't thank you enough for coming on. I mean, this was an awesome collaboration. I had a blast.
We can do this monthly if you're interested. Just let me know when's good for you.
Yeah, I think we've actually might have a date available on September 1st.
Sweet.
If that's up. So, all right. Well, yeah, I'll get with you there. So, well, hey, go get some rest. Everybody, thank you for watching, and Tom, appreciate it, man. Have a
good night.
Hey, you too.
Thank you.
Good night, brothers.
All right, let's botch these closing things here. All right, here we go. We are gonna start with Nanny Cakes, our sponsor. That's the primary one I gotta do. Nanny Cakes 407 on Facebook, or give her a phone call at 407-923-2898. Mention Three Beards, and you're going to get 15% off your cake order in the Central Florida area. Fantastic cakes. We've all had them. They said she does an amazing job decorating. So at 15% off, hey, you can't beat that. Redbubble.com. Three Beards Podcast is our shop. Go check that. Support the show. We can buy all the merchandise that we have up on there. Everything from t-shirts, coasters, mugs. We've had sold 4 t-shirts, which, we can't thank everybody enough for buying those. Yeah, you can also, if you want to adopt a beard, you can go to patreon.com/Three Beards Podcast, and you can become a beardo just like us, and we would love it for you. It supports the show, and we are also rebroadcast every Thursday night starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on the Xeno Radio app, courtesy of Patriot Radio, brought to you by J&J Beard Company out of New Jersey. So go to jjbeardco.com. Just thank them for being willing to put us on that putting us on the radio there. We can't thank him enough for that. We talked about it already, but check us out on social media. I mean, I don't even know why I'm telling you because you're here, but hey, tell your friends. Yeah. So as you're listening to this, go check, for the people that are listening, that's what I was talking to. For the people that are listening, go check us out on social media, like, share, everybody, just subscribe on YouTube, help us out with there. But from bottom of our hearts, from the beards to all of you, we can't thank you enough for watching. We appreciate it. We hope everybody has a great evening, and we're gonna see everybody next week with some incredible shows. We have an author we're gonna be one of the first shows that he's been on talking about his new book, Taylor Moore, Downrange. So that's gonna be one of the shows that we have next week. So everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great night.